Hi all, welcome to my channel. In this tutorial, we're going to learn how we can create an Azure virtual machine and connect to it via SSH using the key file, the private key that we'll download from Azure, right? So to start from here, we are going to click on virtual machines or create a resource or use this side panel to look for virtual machine or search for virtual machine from the search bar. So either of them works. So we click on virtual machines from here, and from on here we can click on create virtual machine and it will open this page for us, right? So basically Azure subscription, only one subscription tied to this account. So we are going to choose a resource group. Maybe from here let's create a new resource group and give it a name, VM resource group. Then check this and then we give our virtual machine a name. So let's do app VM, then we choose the region, South Africa region, the closest region to me, or if I have an application, the region that is closest to Nigeria. So availability options, no infrastructure redundancy, it's a simple demo once again. So security type, we use basic or standard security type, and because it's a Linux virtual machine we are creating, so we're going to try to use Ubuntu Linux or Ubuntu machine image, right? So we can leave the architecture as ARM64 or x64. So the size is the most basic size, 1 core CPU, 0.5 gigabyte of memory, and this is able or will be able to serve whatever purpose we are using it for. So on the authentication administrator account type, right? So we're going to use SSH public key, and here it would ask us to create a username, the user that will be automatically created when the virtual machine gets created. So here we can just leave it as Azure user. We can maybe decide to change the name. So this is the parameter or the criteria that your name must meet. So you can decide to leave it as Azure user, or you can try to let's try to create a new name, my Azure user, right? So here it's going to ask us to choose public key source, right? So here we have an option to generate new key pair or use existing key pair stored in Azure, maybe in Azure Vault, or use existing public key. So if we choose use existing public key, we may need to go to our local machine to get the public key over there and then paste it in here. So if you choose this, it brings out this page, right? So that means I'll have to go to my .ssh here, cd.ssh and do ls. So it will require us to copy the contents of this key, right, and then paste it in here. But I'm going to make a later tutorial on that, so kindly check back in the channel. You're going to see a video tutorial on how to use that. So the reason we won't be doing it right away is because I want us to create that public key, generate the public key from scratch. That one has been, the one that you saw there has been pre-generated, right? So here we're going to check back by using generate new key pair. So we'll choose the key pair format, so we'll leave it as RSA SSH format. So now we want to give our key pair a name, so we can choose VM key pair, just any name that suits you, right? So in the security group or inbound connection rule, will allow selected ports once again, and we can leave it at basic SSH, or you might want to just check this, but basic SSH is fine since we won't be connecting or making any inbound or outbound connection that is not SSH to this virtual machine. So if everything looks good, we just hit review and create. So he's running a background validation checks, and once it makes sure that everything looks good, it will go ahead and prompt us to hit on the create button over here. Alright, so as you can see, the basic configuration passed the validation checks. So we go ahead to click on create and wait a bit for the virtual machine to be deployed or created. So look at the screen, it says we should download private key and create resource. So this is very important, because if you fail to download this key now, you may not be able to find it later. And with that said, you won't be able to log in to this virtual machine. So we'll go ahead to download the key. So we should get the download progress here. So the key has been downloaded, and then the virtual machine will go ahead to get created. So it's already deploying or submitting deployments for the virtual machine to be created. So we wait a bit, deployment is in progress. So I think this failed to submit deployment was because I clicked on the key twice. So we can just take this, or if you still want to ask the AI, right, it should tell us the same thing, that we try to hit on deployment twice or submit key twice. So we're waiting for the deployment, it's still in progress. Our deployment is complete now, so we can just go to the resource. Alright, so from here we click on connect as usual. So native SSH. So if you can recall, the key file was downloaded in the downloads folder, as you can see from here, right? So what we'll do is to go back, come out of this and go to the downloads folder. Do ls once again, so you can see the vmkeeper.pem. So this is the file, right? So we'll come back to this place and copy our. First of all, what we'll do is to give permissions, the required permission to the key file, right? So normally this is the command chmod 400. So because that key is a secret key, so we want to remove 01. By 400 we want to remove 00. So we want the group and other people in this machine not to be able to have read permissions for this private key or this our Azure key, right? So we want to modify the permissions that people have when they want to access this vm.keepem, and ensure that only this user is able to read the content or be able to use the key pair. So first of all, we'll click on chmod 400 and then the name of the key pair. So before I do that, let me show you what I mean. So if we do ls ll, right, so the key pair has read permission for the user, which is user, then read permission for group, which is this, and then read permission for others. So once we remove these read permissions from this others and the group, right, so we'll do change mode 400 and the name of the key pair. Alright, so if we do ls once again, ls, so you can see that now only the regular user, which is user, have the read right to this key file or vmkey.pem, whatever you want to call it. What we're going to do is just put in the SSH command. So SSH, so the first thing we want to do is to put in this command. So put in we'll use the I flag, so that we want to tell SSH to read the content or use this key pen for authentication. So we'll paste it, the name of the file, and then come here to copy the user and the IP address that is associated with it. So we'll just do copy and paste it in here. And this is all we need. So it asks us if we want to add to known hosts, and yes, of course. So let me expand this terminal. Alright, so we're able to log into the Azure user app.vm, right? So this is my Azure user, and the name of the VM is app.vm, right? So this is pretty much the most basic way to log into your virtual machine. So with this, the good side to this is that you don't need a username and a password now. So which means if someone finds my password somewhere, the person is not able to log into my virtual machine, even if he or she knows the name of the virtual machine. So if I have a team of people I work with, so what I will do is that I can give them this key, the file, send the key file to them, so they're able to use that key file to log in. So of which that anybody who doesn't have access to that key file is not going to be able to use the virtual machine, right? So that is it about creating virtual machines and logging into SSH using a private key.